You know what I just realized today, you guys? Today is August 1st. Technically, that means it is Vlogust. And that means we're going to try to vlog as much as we possibly can this month to push ourselves and to see what we're capable of, and also just to provide more content for kind of a better time of the year, so to speak. What I would like to do is a video every day, but I think we know that that's not really practical or maybe possible. My goal right now, a video every 2 days this month, 3 at the latest, because I do have some things I have to do this month that will prohibit me from working a couple days. We started a little early dropping our video yesterday, but we're gonna pump this one out, get it ready for Wednesday, which would be the 2nd. Leave me a comment down below and let me know, or if you have a better preference of days, so to speak. I've got a lot of stuff I need to get done, so it works perfectly for me. Speaking of, now our next step for our drift car, other than finding some hardware to bolt my passenger seat down, is we're going to see what we can do about mounting this KBD bumper. This was the bumper that came with the car. However, it just, whoever mounted it really didn't care or something, but every mounting point is cracked, broken, slotted, whatever. Like, it's not even they've literally jacked it up so bad that you can't really even mount it. What we're going to do is we're going to find us a little dash support bar, and we're going to mount it right here so we can at least mount that top part right across here on the radiator support. Then we'll see if we have to re-drill a couple holes here to get this mounted flush and get it looking the best that we can. I'm not sure if all KBD bumpers are like this, but for the little bit of area that you have for this upper bumper bracket, there's virtually no room to even bolt it on right here. I think that's why the previous owner, A, drilled so many holes, and B, didn't actually use any of them. So we mounted this bar, and this one actually looks to have been like notched for adjustment, so we can move it up and down about a ½ inch. So we're just gonna leave that there. And just the way that we bought the car, we're gonna just lay this bumper back over top of this bracket, and then we will use this bolt and a bolt back here to secure it, and the same for right here, hopefully here, and these two. We're going to forcefully make it happen now, because this is officially the bumper for this car. Twin turbo bumpers up on that. The white bumper I got back there is not going on this. Now we've got it partially mounted, at least to hold it on there. But unfortunately, I had to take that reinforcement bar out because it just wasn't fitting right. What I did is I grabbed the fender brackets from OEM front bumper, or the fender, I guess I should say these are the fender / bumper brackets that go right here. Since this side was broken, I definitely had to grab one so I could hold it up. And now for this side, we're going to pull this off, put it on just to kind of sturdy it up a bit. Since this is a drift car, we may try to snake this bar in through the bottom so we can kind of place it. Instead of mounting this correctly, we're just going to pull it up, and we're going to use a zip tie. It's a drift car. Instead of tearing this thing up, I mean, it's going to need to come off easily. May as well use the zip ties. Had my drill sitting in the back of the car, so it's all sun soaked and insanely hot. Accidentally pulled the trigger and it just quit working. So I hope maybe that's just a safety when it's so hot. Here's a moment of truth. Should be cooled down a bit. It was literally burning my hand to the touch. Alright, sweet. I was really afraid that we cooked our drill. So this side's pretty broken. We're just going to try to line it up and see about where we can drill to match up with this. I think we're going to be able to use this hole that the previous owner had drilled. Still too much of a gap for me. Now that we're pretty mounted up, I'm still really not pleased with that gap. That's just way too much for me. I don't know. We'll try to find something. There's just a lot of pressure pulling this bumper up whenever I lift it that high, and it doesn't make me feel too good. I'll go ahead and put these bad boys on. And we're all mounted. Both of our turn signals are installed. You know, this side, like, it pushed back a little bit less of a gap. Whatever. Drift car, who cares? Thing's gonna probably get smashed into a wall anyway, so there's really no point in, you know, caring this much about alignment and stuff. Especially the reason I chose this chassis is because it was misaligned and pretty clapped out from being beaten by whoever before me. Need to put the lower gasket on so we can fill the gap correctly. However, for now, let's just mount it where she is. Now the nose panel's on. Officially being brought together what it's supposed to look like. Bumper looks alright. Not really a fan. I mean, yeah, it looks cool because it's different and it's like a Gretty style, but I don't know. Especially now that I see our wind deflector is just straight out in the open. We may have to do some repositioning with that to make it look a little more approachable. But nonetheless, let's go get some hardware to mount our seat down. Seat is mounted. It's at least mounted on the front side. The back side, however, is not mounted. Reason being, this is actually a driver's side seat. This should be on that side and not even be seen, and it's actually a power seat that has had the controls removed. I can't scoot it up, so it's kind of just stuck where it's at. So if you're riding the car, this is what you're at risk of until we can get some actual seats, especially for people to be able to ride while we drift. Since we never got around to reinstalling this rear panel piece and the T-piece, let's do that now and bring all this back together. Now we've got the rear portion reinstalled. We actually need to tighten down our seat brackets and whatnot, because we reinstalled them because we actually took the seats out of this car, and that's what we dropped off over at Mike's. So that's why we're even messing with these seats. Luckily, this is going to be the last thing for us to do on the drift car today that I can recall. I happened to notice something on Facebook while I was sitting down for a breather, and it honestly makes me feel relieved, but it makes me feel kind of dumb, because I assumed, and that's honestly the problem. But a couple months back, when we were getting our car ready to go over to South Dakota, we were actually trying to diagnose and get rid of every little issue. We did pretty much got the idea for our Z32 diagnostics from that video. We've been having a problem, just the car has no power. The 96 version actually has no VTC, so you don't have VTEC more or less. So the car is going to be slower. It's down at least 20 horsepower from the factory. I just figured it's plug and play. You just have a slow motor. I found out the ignition timing is set differently on the 96 engines versus the 90 to 95 for the NAs. I've driven the car over 10,000 miles. I had super black, like sooted plugs from driving. Was a little confused, thought I had bad valve stem seals. Turns out, instead of 15 degrees before top dead center on the NA 96 non-VTC engine, it's actually 10 degrees before top dead center. So that's 5 degrees advanced compared to what I was. Safe to say our car actually has a little bit of power now, and it doesn't sound as bad either. So I am honestly ecstatic about that, especially since we're about to take a trip down to Georgia tomorrow to pick up a couple parts for a Z. I was getting still 26.9 mile a gallon with 5 degrees retarded timing. I end up looking in the factory service manual for a 96 just to make sure before I did it. And sure enough, right here, check ignition timing with the timing light. Non-turbocharger, manual and auto, 10 degrees plus or minus 2. Turbocharger for manual and automatic is 15 degrees plus or minus 2 degrees. I guess the more you know. So with automatic cars, I believe there's like a shift lock or like key safety, and this key right here has been stuck about the whole time I've been working on this car. We need to pull this out, which we don't have secured. It's just sitting there. What I've seen online, there's like a cable or something in here somewhere. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this off to get a little bit more access down here, and maybe hope it's under the carpet. If not, if you can see, there's that little red switch. You can hit that and you should be able to pull the key out. So let's try that. It's not working. So let's take our shift knob off. Let's see if we can find this little cable. Because supposedly there's a cable that runs up and into the ignition, and it has to be pulled or something, like when you're in gear, because it moves with your shift selector. I don't ever remember taking it out, unplugging it, unhooking it. So when I seen the diagram online, it showed it came up like right up here. I'm not seeing anything though. I did kind of figure out how this works, because we just got the key out. Now we'll see if we have to do that again. Oh yeah, that's annoying. I guess we'll have to leave that outer ring off so we'll be able to pull the key off. Found out you don't move the lever in or over, up or down. You push it inward, so you stab it with your screwdriver and it'll allow your key to come out. Now that we can actually get our key out, we can start to drive this thing and test drive it a little more. Got the rest of our interior in. However, we're going to take this out actually, and I've got another one I'm going to put in its place that was actually in the car, because I'm going to actually use this one because it was mine. Biggest difference from this one to this one is this one's actually going to have this trim piece. That ties it together since there's no stereo or cover slash tray. That really leaves it open to the next owner if they want to run some gauges or whatnot. So while we're warming it up, kind of charge the battery back up and whatnot, since we just jumped it, we're going to hook the timing light up to the PTU and do it the way I don't really like to do. See if we can get a rough reading on our timing, make sure that we're still right at 15 degrees. We're not getting a good reading, which is why I don't like doing it that way. So now we're going to put a coil pack with a spark plug wire in line and give it a shot with that. Plug wire in line, hook this up, direct flow. And we're reading about 25 right now. So it's a little too high. It's not exactly where you want to be. We'll let it idle out, get warmed up. Crack our bolts loose, because you can see it's turned all the way. So we have plenty of room to tap it downwards and to move that time back to 15 degrees. Now we're going to use a socket and a hammer to kind of move it, because it's very corroded and stuck. Just kidding. This has turned out to be a lot more than I anticipated. I'm actually going to have to remove this intake, this full timing cover, and get access to this cast bracket, wire brush them down, knock all the corrosion off so we can actually adjust this thing, because holy crap. You can see right there I've been beating the tar out of it, and the last thing I want to do is break it or ruin it. Oh, we're finally nearing the end. Gee whiz, I can't get it out. Oh, duh, that would help. Get it out of the bracket. Ouch. Don't touch your coolant pipes like me. 1, 2, 3 bolts, and this will come right out. They are 12 millimeters. Ooh-wee, that dude is hot. Pretty much what we're going to do now is take a hammer, hit it on this side, try to knock it out, because there's corrosion buildup in between, because aluminum on aluminum. Pretty much got it like welded together almost. So let's pop it out. Since we finally got these two apart, I'm going to grab the wire wheel attachment for my drill. We're going to clean this inside ring out, and also the same where it mounts here. You can see all that white ring is corrosion, and it just had it locked on. Now they're both cleaned up. Now that we got it mounted on the bracket, we can actually rotate it now. Got our timing cover on. We've got it set to 15 degrees before top of the center, and it's idling pretty good. Sounds good. It's pretty smooth, pretty consistent. She revs good. Now load, you can pick that up. We are dead on 15. Let's take all of our timing light stuff off. Get our coil pack back in and take it for a spin, see if it drives any better than it did when we had it at 10 degrees advance. I think it's a good time to go for a cruise. Now that we got everything kind of tuned and sorted out, we're gonna up the drive. Instead of just a 5-mile overall drive, we're gonna do a 5-mile one-way drive. So we're gonna drive out to my dad's house. Hopefully everything will go fine here. I assume it will. The car's been doing pretty good, but you know, I've just had some bad luck before, so I always like to give it a little bit of room so I'm not too disappointed. I forgot my windshield is like unbearably nasty and you really can't even see through it. I really don't want to clean it right now, so we're just gonna send it. Whatever, we're not gonna see you on the way back, I guess. Currently rolling over is 6 miles right now. 6 miles trip total. It's so loud. The handle's good, up to speed. Actually feels pretty tight. I think shocks may need replaced. They're a little bouncy. It says 14.6. So far we've taken a leap of faith, hoping this thing's gonna drive good, and we just took off. Pops wasn't home, so we didn't stop, just so we could kind of push this thing a little bit more. So far, car's taking it like a champ. Still need to fix this stupid steering wheel. I totally forgot, and it's driving me crazy this entire trip. But on a good note, since our corn's so tall and big, I actually mistakenly pulled out in front of someone. The car had enough juice to get away and make some gaps. I really can't see a stinking thing. I'm surprised you can even see through the GoPro. Just hit our 25th mile on this trip. Not a single hiccup. I think I'm pretty confident to drive the car now. Shouldn't give us any problems or issues. The only thing is when I have to cram on the brakes, they get a little squishy and I really get to smelling brake dust, but that's still probably just from them rough rotors. We need to re-secure one brake line on the rear. We need to wash it, put our interior in. Fourth, post it for sale. We'll probably post it for sale ahead of time. Just put a little feeler out there to gauge interest ahead of time, so maybe when it is ready to go, we're just ready to sell it outright. This exhaust is extra farty, backfiery, and airy. Made it back to the house, and it's time to wrap the day up. So this is my Z after changing the timing. It doesn't start super soon, like usually it would. You'll crank it and it'll almost start immediately. No hesitation. When I hit the gas, my RPM doesn't drop. Riff smooth, and it even sounds smoother. So I can't believe that the whole time I've been running 5 degrees retarded timing. Well, you guys, I think that's going to be the end of this video. Reason being, we've got pretty much everything that we're good with doing right now on the drift car. It's ready to drive, run, whatever. The only thing I have left to do really is to pull the fuel pump out so I can see what it is. If it doesn't work when I bypass the fuel pump control unit, I guess I don't understand. Maybe it's a stock pump. And if it's a stock pump, we don't really want to be pushing it like that. That's not what it's meant to do. So that's checked off the list. This, it's just a little prettier for the thumbnail. We're about to start tearing into it, getting all the parts and stuff off of it, and probably trying to chop the majority of it within the week. But I've got kind of a cool idea with this car. Needs a clean, needs those interior pieces, needs a brake blade, also needs the back brake bracket. That's done. To me, that's done. This, we got the timing fixed on it. Now it's ready to make our trip down to Georgia so we can grab some parts, which we'll be doing this week. It's actually not going to be tomorrow. It's going to be this weekend to make it a little easier on us. And this this is what you can expect to see next. We've got an engine in the barn that's ready to be timed, so we can put it in this bad boy and get on with having at least 4 running and driving Z's here. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm going to get into repairing this yet this year. We have the welder here. We've got to learn a little bit how to use it first, but I'm going to strip this car down, take it all apart, take all the pieces apart, all the body panels and stuff from the back and where I need, and we'll see about storing them in the barn. And potentially maybe this winter or something we can start getting into it. The biggest thing right now is I've got to have room to keep a car in the barn to be able to work on this. So right now we're just going to turn and burn a ton of other stuff so we can free up some room and get on to where we can get this car done and actually get on, because this is my pride and joy. I want to hit 1,000,000 miles in this thing, and we're a quarter of the way there. Time for me to start racking them up. Enough of the chit chat, you guys. Sorry for talking your ear off. I hope you guys are ready for Vlogust so we can get some more content out there for you guys. Hope you guys liked the video. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe down below, and let us know what you think, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.